What is the laziest thing you've ever done? Used to have one of those clap on, clap off lights in my room. I hated clapping, so I just made an audio recording of me clapping and mapped it to one of the programmable keys on my keyboard. I hated clapping. I didn't even know that could be a thing. Either way, that's funny. I always heat things in the microwave for 111 or 222 because I'm too lazy to move my fingers to the 0 before I hit start. I simply set mine to 99, so all I have to do is hit start whenever I need something heated. That is, until the time runs out eventually. I have a dog and a cat, and I hate sleeping with the door open. Sometimes dog wants to sleep in the bedroom, sometimes dog wants to sleep outside the bedroom, but he never decides until I'm comfy in bed. Solution? Keep a laser pointer on my nightstand. Once dog decides where he's sleeping, I'll shine the laser pointer on the door so that my cat paws it closed. It has now become a routine that my cat will wait by the door for the laser before laying down. Genius. I was laying in bed with the light on and wanted to go to sleep with it off. I called my house from my cell phone and asked for myself in a disguised voice. When my mom came in to bring me the phone, I asked her to turn the light out when she left, hung up both phones and went to sleep. Late to the party, but this one is too good to pass up. I was once on a US military ship, having breakfast in the wardroom, officer's lounge, when the operations officer, ops, walks in. This guy was the definition of not a morning person. He's still half asleep, bleary-eyed, basically a zombie with a bagel. He sits down across from me to eat his bagel and is just barely conscious. My back is to the outboard side of the ship, and the morning sun is blazing in one of the portholes, putting a big bright but circle of light right on his barely conscious face. He's squinting and chewing and basically just remembering how to be alive for today. It's painful to watch, but then zombie op stops chewing, slowly picks up the phone, and dials the bridge. In his well-known "I'm still totally asleep" voice, he says, "Hi, it's ops. Could you shift our barput? Yeah, 165. Thanks," and puts the phone down. And then he just sits there, squinting, waiting, and then, ever so slowly, I realize that that big blazing spot of sun has begun to slide off the zombie's face and onto the wall behind him. After a moment it clears his face and he blinks slowly a few times, and the brilliant beauty of what I've just witnessed begins to overwhelm me. By ordering the bridge to adjust the ship's back and forth patrol by about 15 degrees, he has changed our course just enough to reposition the sun off of his face. He's literally just redirected thousands of tons of steel and hundreds of people so that he could get the sun out of his eyes while he eats his bagel. I am in awe. He slowly picks up his bagel, and for a moment I'm terrified at the thought that his own genius may escape him, that he may never appreciate the epic brilliance of his laziness, since he's not going to wake up for another hour. But between his next bites he pauses, looks at me, and gives me the faintest, sly grin, before returning to gnaw slowly on his zombie bagel. I think this is one of the greatest things I have ever read. In order to not walk 5 feet to my bed, I decided to fall asleep on my recliner, pulling down the window shade a little extra, so I could use it as a blanket. Did the same thing when I was coming home drunk, laid on the floor and used a DDR mat for a blanket. My roommate and I arranged our dorm room to be lazy capable. One person was able to reach the mini fridge and light switch from her bed, and the other could reach to the window and AC heat from her bed. We never fought again. I remember my freshman year, my neighbor, and later to be roommate, made an intricate system of strings and counterweights so he could pull a string from his bunk and kill the lights. Here are a couple. Roommate was on the other side of the apartment, maybe 20 feet away, and we're both using our computers. Sent him an instant message to find out what he was doing and if he wanted to go grab some lunch. Came home and tripped in the doorway, falling flat on the floor. I kicked the door shut with my foot and fell asleep for 3 hours. I was drunk one night and decided the bathroom was too far away, so I pee in my cat's litter box. Didn't feel like cleaning it up in the morning, so I just threw the whole litter box in the garbage. I didn't want to get up to get scissors to open a package I had, so I grabbed the cat and used his claws. It was soft plastic and the cat was indifferent. The cat was indifferent, just as lazy. FTFY. An update is available. Ask me in 4 hours. Ask me in 4 hours. Ask me in 4 hours. God damn it. Ask me in 1 day. I ran out of clean bowls for cereal, so I lined the bowls with foil over the old food and made a bowl of cereal. After that I threw away the foil and did it again the next day. I was out of the country for a few weeks, and the morning I came back, I saw my boyfriend eating cereal out of a measuring cup with a plastic spoon. I can never leave again. I was in a class called OJT, on the job training, in high school. Every day the last 25% of school was dedicated to me being able to leave class to go to work. We were given grades by our employers which would then turn into grades for the class. As a high school senior I convinced the teacher that oversaw this program that because I had my own corporation that I used to sell stuff on eBay I should be able to be my own boss. She agreed. I failed that class because I didn't bother to fill out the paperwork to give myself a grade. Holy crap guy. My roommate in college went home for a 3-day weekend, and I stayed in bed the entire time. I got up twice to pee, and brought 4 bags of sour cream and onion potato chips to bed with me. She walked in on Monday at 9 PM, laughed so hard she cried, and forced me to get in the shower. When I was in college I ordered pizza for delivery because I wanted cigarettes and asked if there was a driver there that would pick me up some cigs for an extra $10 on top of his normal tip. We had a Circle K next door to my apartment complex I could see from my window. The cigs cost me $33. This reminded me of a time when I ordered a cab to get cigarettes. It had just snowed and I hadn't shoveled the snow off my car yet. There's this gas station about 3 blocks away but I was too lazy and cold to walk. So I ordered a cab to drive me to the gas station and wait and then bring me home. He looked at me like I was nuts. TV remote was 2 feet out of reach, so I downloaded the remote control app instead. Been there myself. Now I wonder what I'd do if my smartphone were out of reach. Threw a shoe to knock over the cat food bag so I didn't have to go all the way into the garage to open it and dump it into the bowl. Not me, but a buddy of mine was laying in bed one morning, picked his nose and had nowhere to put it back in his nose. Attached my dog's leash to my RC monster truck car and walked her around the cul-de-sac with it, all from the comfort of my living room. Don't judge. You must have a tiny dog. I've been sitting on the toilet for 45 minutes cause I don't want to pull my pants up. Your butt is gonna get crusty. My TV was on my dresser and I didn't have a remote. I had turned off Netflix in an effort to go to bed. I decided a few minutes later that sleep is for the weak and decided for more Netflix. I never got up to turn my TV back on though. I watched hours of Netflix on my tiny phone to avoid getting up for 5 seconds. I once hooked up with a guy on Grindr and made him go past the grocery store to get me some milk on the way to my place. I didn't even really feel like sex, but I sure did feel like cereal. My husband did this but I took advantage so I'm guilty too. We were in his man cave attached to the garage. It's about 100 feet from the house. Using his cell he called the house phone. One of the kids answered and he told him to come to the cave. When he got there my husband told him to grab a beer out of the fridge that was about 10 feet away. I said, while you're there, grab me a soda. I feel so ashamed. I had BBQ sauce on my cheek at a restaurant. Rather than get up to grab a napkin, I used a piece of bread to wipe it off and then ate it. That's also the fattest thing I've done. That's not being lazy. That's being smart. Asked a friend to FaceTime me the Miss Universe pageant as she was watching it at home and I was in bed and the TV was downstairs. When I played WoW I didn't take my 6 packs of Dr. Pepper out of the plastic rings. I just lift up all 6 and drink them one at a time. I was supposed to write a paper on a book. I didn't read it and I based my essay on what the previous owner had underlined. My brother was in his room so I called him to come to my room and when he did I told him to turn off my fan. He didn't and I got sick. This is amazing to me because you mentioned getting sick so nonchalant that you even seemed too lazy to care that there were consequences. Save empty water bottles, fill them with whatever beverage you want, poke a small hole in the cap, put cap back on. You now have a dish-free, spill-free, worry-free adult baby bottle that you can drink laying down. I wanted a sandwich, so I tied a note around my iguana's neck and had him walk over to my GF to make me one. Realizing he couldn't bring it back, didn't think that one through. She probably misinterpreted your note and made the iguana a sandwich. I was laying on my bed and I had to search something in Google on my web browser. Unfortunately, I had a wireless mouse. My keyboard was across the room and I had no will to get up. I literally scrolled around the web page I was on at the moment to find and copy each letter of what I needed to search with my mouse and paste it in the web address bar. I will never forget. It took a good few minutes to do my search. I was ashamed of myself that night. Start all programs accessories ease of access on screen keyboard. Applause sign flashing. For about 6 years of my youth I used to pretend to be asleep so people had to carry me everywhere instead of me walking. I became a pro at this. I've also done this at least 3 times since being legal. Thanks to good friends for carrying me upstairs, tucking me in and talking minimal crap. TLDR would fake sleep pass out to avoid walking. Was supposed to spend time with a friend I hadn't talked to in years. Felt too tired. Decided to say frick it and lounge around the house all day. I'm severely guilty of this too. Was watching TVW roommate. TV remote right in front of us on the floor instead of just leaning over and grabbing it we use pillows. Woodies and feet to finally get it close enough where we literally didn't have to move to get the remote. This is called creative problem solving. Sometimes when I have to take a pill but I don't want to go downstairs to get water I just save up a bunch of spit until there's enough to wash the pill down. I don't feel like moving from my chair so I'm staying up all night. Plus I don't have to shower in the morning because I haven't moved all day. When I was a 7 I really hated getting up in the night to go to the bathroom. I hadn't realized that it was weird for a 7-year-old to not pee their bed on a regular basis. So what I would do is take a sheet, pee into it directly, and put it off to the side. I would then hide the sheet and do this multiple times with different sheets until all of my sheets were soaked with pee by the end of the week. Then I would pee directly on the bed and tell my parents I pee the bed. This way I didn't have to get up. My parents changed the sheets once a week, and I didn't have to sleep in pee sheets. What? I didn't want to do a project on the Pythagorean theorem once. So the morning it was due I took my ham and cheese sandwich I had for lunch, held it up for the class, cut it diagonally, and found the hypotenuse of the sandwich triangles on the board. I got an A. This is freaking brilliant. Accidentally clicked on my CD drive in Windows. Drive open up because there was no disk. Tower out of reach. Googled how to write a program to close it. 10 minutes later, success. The first time I smoked weed I was 13 or 14. I was sitting in the chair with a coke in my hand and I was really thirsty, but I didn't want to move. So I just poured it on my leg, hoping my skin would absorb it like a plant. It didn't work. I threw away all my dirty dishes once and just bought new ones because I really didn't want to wash them after they'd been sitting in my sink for 3 weeks. I should feel shame about it, but instead I just feel like a bad butt. One of my best friends and I determined that we share a common thread of laziness. We bump our bodies off of walls and other tall rigid objects in order to make 45 degrees or greater turns in the house. It's not anything we did intentionally, we just kind of discovered one day when we were back in high school. Haha. Yup, and you hold on to door jambs when walking through them if you want to turn, too, I'll bet. I fashioned a grappling hook out of a wire hanger and paracord so I don't have to get up off the couch to grab things when I am feeling lazy. Every time I did the laundry I dumped the clean clothes onto my bed to fold later. Only later never came. I slept under my clothes for months. The least disgusting but most lazy thing that I have ever done is skip my senior year English exam in high school because I didn't feel like getting out of bed. I shrugged and decided that I would just graduate next year. Crap, this thread was made for my sister and I'm here way too late. Had to throw up in the middle of the night. Rolled over and vomited over the side of the bed and went back to bed. Made me clean it. Has an alarm set for weekends and holidays called oh crap it's 3 PM. Had to blow her nose while in bed. took a t-shirt out of her nightstand and blew her nose into it. Left that t-shirt on the floor for days. I could write a novel, but I have a paper due in 9 hours. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.